is Joy News Prime.
Hello, good evening. It's 68 days to the general elections and the campaigns are heating up. Welcome to Joy News Prime. Coming up, 9 presidential hopefuls filed their nomination with the Electoral Commission despite the EC's inability to accept filing fees following an injunction filed by the Progressive People's Party. Also, the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice clears President Mahama of any wrongdoing in his acceptance of a Ford gift from a Burkinabe contractor. Meanwhile, the PPP and the CPP youth organizer who petitioned Shraj to investigate the matter when the story broke are not so thrilled at the outcome, even as President's lawyer hails the work done by Shraj.
And coming up in business, Registrar General to fine companies that fail to renew their businesses from Monday, October 3, as the department enforces provisions under the Companies Act.
Also in this bulletin, mental health treatment suffers another major setback as the Accra Psychiatric Hospital withdraws emergency and outpatient services. Stay with us. Stay with us for all these, plus sports, entertainment, and your interactive segment in this 2-hour package. You can... You're welcome. Now, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Shraj, has dismissed the Ford gift petition against President John Mahama. The Commission says its decision is based on the fact that President Mahama did not contravene the 1992 Constitution in accepting the gift. According to Shraj, at the end of its preliminary investigation, it concluded that, based on the extensive evidence assembled, the allegations that President Mahama contravened Article 284 of the 1992 Constitution by putting himself in situations of conflict of interest was not substantiated. Consequently, the Commission held the view that full or further investigations into the allegations were not warranted and therefore dismissed the allegations. Here are excerpts of the recommendations made by Shraj in a text presentation. So these are the recommendations per the findings from Shraj. Quote, there is clearly the need for legislation to define in detail the situations that constitute conflict of interest and which serve as the legal framework within which the Shraj can determine complaints made against public officers for breaches of the code. Such a law should also provide for the manner in which public officers should treat gifts that are offered to them. The absence of enabling legislation setting out the parameters of conflict of interest makes Article 284 considerably vague in terms of definition, procedure, and sanctions. The lack of clarity in matters of conflict of interest and the lack of an extensive code of conduct for public officers only helps to lower the trust that the people have in public office holders. It also reads, the Commission joins the CRC and strongly recommends the early passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, which seeks to codify the current guidelines on conflict of interest and to make for regulations, among others, that would govern the regime of gifts, including solicitation and acceptance of gifts, what constitutes acceptable gifts, forfeiture and disposal of prohibited gifts, the keeping of gifts registers, etc., which the Commission has been at the forefront of championing. The bill has been before Parliament for 2 terms, but it is yet to be passed. Continues, the interest generated by this case among the Ghanaian public should remind us of the urgency the Ghanaian public attaches to this issue, and an early passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill will help improve public understanding and appreciation of the issues involved. The perception of corruption among public officers by members of the general public is directly or indirectly traceable to the conduct exhibited by public officers in their service delivery, which is seen to be at variance with the Code of Conduct expected of them under Chapter 24 of the 1992 Constitution. All right, so for those who missed the report filed by my colleague Manasseh Azura Wuni that led to the petitions for President Mahama to be investigated, here's a recap of the story. The said vehicle, estimated at about $100,000, was given out by a Burkinabe contractor who has been doing business with government. Amongst the contracts executed by the contractor Jibril Kanazue is the construction of a perimeter wall at the Ghana Embassy in Burkina Faso at the cost of $650,000 and the Dodo Pepeso Nkwanta Road worth nearly €30 million.
Jibril Kanazue paused my interview with him and seized the voice recorder. He accused me of trapping him to disclose information he would ordinarily not disclose. I was in Burkina Faso to investigate allegations that he used undue influence to win a contract. He defended the process through which he won the contract and justified the cost of the project. The Ghana Embassy fence wall in Burkina Faso was built around a piece of land that is yet to be developed. The land is about the size of a football pitch and is located at the ambassadorial enclave in Ouagadougou. Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso at the time of the project, Chief Dauda Mandiaya Baumia, said he wrote to Mr. Kanazue and 2 other contractors to submit quotations for the project. Mr. Kanazue explains how he won the contract.
Each institution have his way of managing his contracts matter. We got a letter from the embassy that a bid. And we have sent our code, we replied to the bid, and we got the contract.
Was it advertised in newspapers or they wrote to you directly?
Oh, they wrote to us. It was not on newspaper.
A former chief executive officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Ajenim Boatiaje, said a contract of this nature should have gone through competitive bidding.
Now, if you talk of a 650,000 or a 2 million contract, or 2 million procurement, the law definitely requires that, one, you cannot use request for quotation because it's got a threshold of 20,000 and above. It could either be a national competitive tendering or international competitive tendering.
Attempts to get details of the contract from the Foreign Affairs Ministry yielded no results. The Public Procurement Authority, on the other hand, would not comment on whether the ministry sought approval or not. In the office of Mr. Kanazue hangs a photograph of him and President John Mahama. Exactly a week before I went to meet him in Burkina Faso, President Mahama had commissioned the 46-kilometer Dodo Pepeso section of the Eastern Corridor Road, Mr. Kanazue's latest project in Ghana.
I also want to take the opportunity to thank Meshes Umaru Kanazue, Contractors Limited of Burkina Faso, for the very high quality of work they have done on this stretch of road. As I said, perhaps this is one of the best quality roads in Ghana today.
Joy News has evidence that Jibril Kanazue sent a brand new Ford Expedition vehicle to President Mahama in 2012, the year he got the embassy fence wall contract and a 25.9 million euros road contract.
Also, that's the story that started it all. Now, two of the political parties behind the petitions that triggered investigations by Shraj into the Ford Expedition given President John Mahama have accused the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice of covering up for the president after it exonerated him of claims of bribery and conflict of interest. The Commission's report released Thursday said although the president had violated the code of conduct, it found no evidence against him on the accusations of bribery and conflict of interest. Policy advisor for the Progressive People's Party, Kofi Asamoah says although the party is yet to determine the next action based on the conclusion of the Commission's report, they were right. The president erred by receiving the gift. National Youth Organizer of the Convention People's Party, Ernesto Yeboah, was unimpressed with what he says was a speedy investigation by Shraj. He says they have been vindicated by Shraj's findings that the president abused his office.
First of all, as the leader of the youth wing of the Convention People's Party, my preliminary comment is to say that we are not totally satisfied. A question, and a very big one at that, is left in the minds of every thinking person. That what happens to a president who violates gift policies, even if we are to accept this outcome from Shraj. So it still borders on, abuse of his office. If he cannot keep, a mere gift policy, how do you call it? How is he able to guarantee us and assure the people of Ghana that he would be able to hold the sacred oath of his office? Certainly not. We are not happy at all with the outcome from Shraj. It would appear that they only compiled what we all know and is in the public domain, and then produced it to us or gave it to us back as a report. We are going to apprise ourselves with a full detail and then come out in a press conference.
Well, policy advisor for the Progressive People's Party, Kofi Asamoah, joins us in the studio for more on this. Welcome to Joy News Prime.
Yes, good evening and thank you for having me.
Good. Now, you've had the full benefit of reading the report by Shraj. It essentially exonerates him from the accusations of bribery and conflict of interest. Now, what are your initial thoughts on the findings?
Well, on the job itself, the report serves as a one-stop shop where you can have all the petitions, the evidence, and the findings, and the investigations conducted by Shraj in one document. So it can become a good reference point for anti-corruption students to read what was done and the conclusion that Shraj has drawn as we speak. So in that respect, they have given us some documents to work with going forward. That is the only good thing I see there. The second good thing is that the scripts you read, I think it falls under the recommendations, where they said that there's a certain lack of trust in public officers from Ghanaians if we don't take immediate steps to cure the mischief of the absence of a clear codified meaning for conflict of interest and punishment thereof. And that is why it's disappointing as we speak that the Constitutional Review Commission's exercise has been shelved and nothing is being done about it. We don't have some kind of enthusiasm from higher authority doing that and pushing it to make sure that it's able to go through Parliament the same way government projects and contracts and loans go through Parliament easily. On the finding itself, we see that two things, that it's confirmed our position that the President misconducted himself by doing something that is untoward, not expecting of the President, High Office of President, and it's been confirmed by Sraj. And the second observation we make is that Sraj appears to be attempting to cover up for the President, but in this particular instance they failed, because if you look at some of the evidence they are due to support the conclusion, that is the only
I don't quite understand when you say Sraj tried to cover up for the President, especially since they found no evidence to back the claims that, you know, he was engaged in some form of bribery or a conflict of interest. I mean, on what basis are you saying that Sraj tried to cover it up for him?
One of the main issues that surrounded the controversy, or that brought up the controversy, was whether Article 284 had been violated. And we're talking specifically about conflict of interest. And interestingly, Sraj said there's no definition and no sanctions thereof codified. But they have their own guidelines, gift policy, and things like that. There's something interesting in the report. Sraj says that if you take the gift beyond a certain threshold and you don't dispose of it properly, then it constitutes conflict of interest matter. So you are violated and you are guilty of conflict of interest.
Are you suggesting the President did not dispose of the gift properly?
Properly, that is the point.
But some processes were, you know,
so let's
conducted.
go to. So we are, our reference point in this discussion and the whole forward matter and the investigation is the Sraj guidelines on policies on gift and so on and so forth. So we go by the letter. So it says, according to the guidelines, proper disposal of the gift. 1, when you must return it when you didn't solicit it and the gift came unexpected. Point 2, you must declare it to your superior officers. 3, when you get a gift, you must donate to charity. These, according to Sraj, are proper means of disposing of a gift that will exonerate you from allegations of conflict of interest. If you don't use any of these steps and you use anything outside, can you, on that basis, exonerate the President that there was no conflict of interest?
But
when did the presidential pool becomes a charity organization? And did the President return the vehicle? No. Who is the superior officer to the President? The people of Ghana,
so
not the subordinate transport officer.
Okay, so you still maintain that he misconducted himself?
He misconducted himself, and we don't accept the conclusion drawn by Sraj because their own conclusion conflicts with their own guidelines.
I see. So, I mean, this PPP is clearly dissatisfied with Sraj's findings. What do you intend to do going forward?
Well, like I said, this is matter for the people of Ghana to decide on. They are the bosses of the President, and we have been champions of anti-corruption. We think we need to do more than we have done. And these current administration and some people, state institutions, are not strong enough to push this agenda to a point where we'll be satisfied that we have put in place enough measures to fight corruption. So yes, we are satisfied that at least there was that recognition by Sraj that something wrong has happened. We expect the President to apologize to all of us for this matter to be brought to an end. But for us, it's a message we are carrying across, and we hope at some point in Ghana, the people of Ghana will come and accept our positions and the kind of measures we want to put in place to cure some of this mischief. It is a national embarrassment, and we pray that it never happens to any future president.
All right, so you believe that the President apologizing will bring finality to the case?
Well, at least it will placate us and we'll stop talking too much about it. But I think it's something that he needs to accept that is wrong. Now that Sraj says a certain part of its guidelines were violated, it cannot be a basis to claim a certain victory at some elements. I've read statement of the President's lawyer and so on and so forth. He cleverly avoided the part of the violation of the gift policy.
Thank you very much. That is Kofi Asamoah-Sian. He's policy advisor of the Progressive People's Party, one of the parties that took the matter to Sraj. And speaking of the President's lawyer, Mr. Tony Litha, he has welcomed the report of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, exonerating the President over the Ford gift saga. Mr. Litha said whilst he was, quote, always confident of his client's innocence, The report throws more light on the circumstances surrounding the subject of the complaints and demonstrates clearly to the people of Ghana that the accusations of conflict of interest and corruption variously made against my client by different people and entities in various fora were wrong, without basis, and unsupported by the facts. The thoroughness of the investigations conducted by SHRAJ and the manner in which it has tackled all the issues arising from the complaints are commendable. I commend SHRAJ for discharging its constitutional mandate with dispatch and hope that the clarity and completeness of its determination of all the issues will finally lay this matter to rest once and for all. And it's a letter signed by the President's lawyer, Tony Letha. So President Mahama contravened the gift policy with regard to his decision to accept a Ford vehicle gift from a Burkinabe contractor. According to SHRAJ, it was satisfied that the gift in question formed parts of gift prohibited under the gift policy, under the Code of Conduct, and that although the evidence showed that President Mahama subsequently surrendered the gift to the state, the action nonetheless contravened the gift policy. That notwithstanding, the Commission has also concluded that the President's action did not amount to accepting a bribe. So let's take excerpts of the Code of Ethics for Ministers and Government Appointees launched by President Mahama himself in July 2013. So here are excerpts. Conflict of interest may exist where a minister is influenced or appears to be influenced by private interest. For example, where a minister has significant financial interest in a company with whom the government is contracting, has a personal interest in the outcome of a process, or receives a right or commission in return for the provision of benefit. Conflict of interest. A. May arise because of the influence and power the minister wields, both in the individual performance of his or her sector responsibilities and as members of cabinet. B. May be pecuniary, i.e. arising from the minister's direct financial interest, or non-pecuniary, for example, concerning a member of the minister's family. C. May be direct or indirect. D. Will not arise from a generic interest held as one of a class of persons or held in common with the public. For example, an interest in education issues where the minister has children of school-going age, an interest in agricultural issues where the minister has a farm, or taxation issues. Indeed, government decision-making may benefit from the personal experience that the minister may bring to a particular issue. Then let's go to the section where it talks specifically about gifts, and it says A. The exchange of gifts during official government visits is an accepted practice, and a refusal to accept may cause offense. Such gifts are, however, more in the nature of gifts to the office than to the incumbent. B. The minister must relinquish any gifts to the secretary to the cabinet to arrange for appropriate display of the item. C. The minister who wishes to retain gifts received in Ghana or overseas may do so provided the estimated value is not more than 200 Ghana cedis. If the estimated value is 200 cedis or more, the gift may be retained while in office, but must be declared in the interest of the individual. And D. Gifts with an estimated value of over 500 Ghana cedis must be relinquished on leaving office unless the express permission of the President to retain them is obtained. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Let's do some other stories. And mental health treatment suffers another major setback as the Accra Psychiatric Hospital withdraws emergency and outpatient services. The action is as a result of non-availability of funds to keep the facility running. Patients seeking healthcare on Thursday morning were left stranded as officials at the facility complain of even lack of stationery and gloves to work with.
This may not be the first time the Accra Psychiatric Hospital have had to suspend some essential services, and certainly will not be the last. There have been several reports on the operationalization of the Mental Health Fund, which is supposed to serve as a dedicated source of funding for mental health care. Though Parliament has passed the Mental Health Bill, there is the need for early passage of the LI to give legal backing to the authority to function effectively. Until this is done, mental health institutions in the country will continue to struggle for funds to run the institutions. Following the withdrawal of emergency and outpatient service, some patients seeking attention at the outpatient department of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital were turned away Thursday morning. Some of their relatives spoke with Joy News.
I'm here to collect medicine for my boy.
Your boy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So have you been seen already? What have they been telling you?
I have been informed that the doctors are not working, so nothing can be done.
So what are you going to do now that you can't get...
I was waiting if I can get somebody to just write a prescription for me so that I advise the medicine for him.
Okay, all right.
This morning I came here with my dad for checkup.
Okay, and what have you been told? Do you come here regularly, or this your first time?
We come here on monthly basis, but when we came here today, we were told that the doctors are not seeing the patients, and from the other patients' reaction, they were very frustrated. Didn't know who to talk to, pleading with the nurses to do something about it for them. But I believe that if there is anything that the government can do to make the doctors come to work, they should do it so that they come to work, because it's very hurting to come all the way from your house thinking you come to meet someone to share whatever you are going through in your head.
The Accra Psychiatric Hospital owes 3.6 million cedis in medical and food supplies, forcing it to shut its doors to new patients.
Don't have money to run the hospital, and when we say that we don't have even gloves to wear when the patient is sold and you need to change the patient, we don't have even stationaries.
Does this include withdrawal of emergency services as well?
Previously we had suspended all admissions, and then we were seeing emergency cases and admitting very critical cases, and now we have suspended the whole thing. So suspension comes with everything as well. A psychiatric condition. We have some patients who are very aggressive. So imagine if a patient came in with depression, with some form of suicidal ideations and all of that, and we have managed to take care of such a patient. The patient is doing well. Right now we've suspended OPD cases. The patients can go out there to buy the medications because the medicines won't be served to them without a prescription. So it means that such a patient can relapse.
Matilda Pamaga for Joy News, Accra.
Meanwhile, Health Minister Alex Sebefia has been responding to questions on funding for mental health care in the country. He explained on the Super Morning Show Thursday that the Health Ministry is in talks with the Finance Ministry to clear the debt owed by the Accra Psychiatric Hospital as soon as possible.
I have a situation where I know that the board and management of the psychiatric hospitals met with finance, because there is a fund that should be created for the mental health group, the mental health hospitals. Mm-hmm. And that fund is what should help feed out and make sure that there's a constant revenue mm-hmm. for the psychiatric hospitals. The idea was that seed capital for that fund would be obtained in the last financial year, but due to the way in which tranches were going and the discussions that were held, the discussions haven't reached closure, but we are hoping to have closure on those discussions before the next budget is read. Mm. And then specific money can be set aside from a particular source, and I'm not going to go into detail, mm-hmm. which will be the seed capital for this fund to actually begin to operate. And that will bring an end to this cycle of paying so much and then releasing so much and etc. So on the current position, we've had meetings both with the Accra Psychiatric Hospital and the Ministry of Finance. Efforts are being made to find some money to close the gap and hold us till the budget is read, when we can get that seed capital. And we believe that this matter will become a thing of the past.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with business news. And this is your election headquarters. Now, 9 presidential aspirants have filed their nominations with the Electoral Commission by close of day Thursday. The commission set Thursday and Friday for aspirants to submit their completed forms. In all, 23 people on the ticket of political parties and individuals picked up forms when the EC opened nominations some 3 weeks ago. The EC, however, did not accept the filing fees following an injunction application filed by the Progressive People's Party. Here is a report by Joy News' Joseph Akable.
Supporters of the two main parties were at the office of the commission on Thursday. The supporters danced and sang as and when their candidates arrived. The NPP's flag bearer Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was the first to arrive. Nana Addo's delegation exited the EC office, followed closely by teeming supporters of the opposition party. This was followed by Akwesi Adae of the UPP and Ejeni Mboaten of the UFP in that order. Then came APC running mate Emmanuel Carl-Bartels, who filed the forms on behalf of the flag bearer Hassan Ayariga. Kofi Akpaloo of the IPP was next to present his completed form to the commission. The governing party, the NDC, had Vice President Kwesi Amisa Arthur lead a team of party bigwigs to present the forms. The Vice President then addressed the supporters of the party who had massed up at the EC headquarters. He charged supporters to work hard to ensure that the NDC is retained in power.
And this process has continued to today, and we believe that all the 275 members, parliamentary candidates, will finish the process and start a campaign to all the nooks and crannies of this country so that our message will go out to the good of our country. I thank you for have to go and to work.
Former First Lady Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, who now leads the NDP, showed up after the departure of the NDC. Accompanied by the party secretary Mohammed Frimpong, Mrs. Rawlings presented her forms to the commission. She is confident the NDP can emerge victorious in this year's polls.
The reason why I'm laughing is you have some countries that have the Greens and they have new parties, and they come in and they are able to knock down all 3 parties that are ahead of them and become the government. So it is our programs that we're going to put to the Ghanaian people that will actually show.
Ekuya Donko of the GFP and Kwabena J of the RPD were the last to hand in their forms to the commission, bringing the number to 9 on day 1.
Now, veteran politician Alban Bagbin says he has, quote, no fears at all that he will retain his Nadoli Kalio seat in the Upper West region, despite a challenge from the People's National Convention National Chairman, Bernard Mona. Filing his parliamentary nomination forms for a record 7th successive bid, Alban Bagbin dismissed any possibility of an upset in the general elections come December 7th. The majority leader in parliament said his challenges, which also includes NPP candidates, the NPP candidates and those are coming from the wrong direction, I beg your pardon, because they are not NDC members. Rafiq Salam has more.
Majority Leader in Parliament Alban Summana Kinsport Bagbin arrived at the Nadoli office in the company of his wife Alice Bagbin and some supporters of the National Democratic Congress NDC to file his nomination for a record 7th term. Returning EC officer of the constituency Brahma Idrisu meticulously scrutinized the nomination forms for well over an hour before accepting his candidature. Alban Bagbin, speaking in an interaction with the press, mocked at his challenges for the Nadolo Keleo constituency seat, describing them as unfit to be in parliament and will defeat them with cheeky ease.
No fears at all. I know I have some of my sons who are willing to take over from me, even though they are coming from the wrong direction. That is, one is coming through the New Patriotic Party. Another is also coming through the People's National Convention in the presence of Bernard Mona and also Elvis. You know, these are young men who are quite ambitious and who believe that they could take over. Little did they know that among my people here, there are more competent people in the NDC than them. They are ready to take over, you know, but because they are not with us, you know, they were outside the constituency PP, so they are welcome to the constituency, and they will learn from my people, and I believe that that lesson will lead them to live better lives in future. So I have no fears at all.
Well, the National Democratic Congress in the North Tongu constituency of the Volta region is promising President Mahama 97% of votes from the constituency in the December polls. The Member of Parliament for the area, Samuel Okujetwa Blakwa, who disclosed this, is confident that based on the development track record of the Mahama-led government, a 97% vote margin is achievable. He said this to journalists after successfully filing his nomination at the EC's office at Adidome in the Central Tongu district of the Volta region. Yes.
That all the paperwork we have completed and have given us the green light. So we are grateful to God and grateful to the good people of North Tongu. I have a very strong team. They put all this together, and I want to thank my team for ensuring that we were the first to file for North Tongu constituency, and I believe that we'll also be the first when the results are declared on December 7, 2016. We have met all the requirements so far as all expectations that the EC we have met all of that, and we do not expect to face any encumbrance or any challenges so far as our candidature is concerned. We are sailing smoothly to victory on December 7th. We have seen how dedicated they have been to our cause, and I want to assure them that I will not let them down. I'll continue to work hard and to project North Tongu and to make sure that the needed development comes to us. So let us all remain committed. I want to appeal to them that there should be no skirmishes, no conflict. This is just a process. It's just our thumbs that is required on December 7th. It's a democratic process. Let us all be mindful of the peace in North Tongu. Let's love one another and let's work together. NDC has done so much for North Tongu, and so we don't see any threat, be it from the NPP, CPP, PNC, PPP, name them.
We're staying with the filing, but on the flip side, the atmosphere that characterized the filing of nominations here at the Electoral Commission's headquarters in Accra was one of pomp and celebration. Watch.
Ladies for JM, and we are really working for him because he has done a lot. He has really done a lot for us.
You are on the ground. When you go around a campaign, how is the response like?
Oh, everything is cool. We are working effectively, especially on campus and outside campus. The response out there are good. Everybody is happy to vote JM 2016.
Ghana, the American Koya, and I make catch them when I'm with them, and penny for woman, dear. Now the American say, our penny of Hammer, 1 year when he be out. Yes, I want to me, I come from my second, no, and crop for crab free your mind. So, how about it? Second 1 year. I feel like, yeah, Kasua, I hope I'm a Kasua boss of fire. They say, grab a person because you die, because you brought what you die, you say, what a boss of fire. The American say, I'm a penny of Hammer, 1 Nikai, now it's minute. And what Nikai announced what was me, 2020, now it's many winning.
Interesting scenes there at the eCSA office here in Accra today. We're taking a break. We'll be back with international news. Our news headlines at the top of the hour, and 9 presidential hopefuls filed their nomination with the Electoral Commission despite the EC's inability to accept filing fees following an injunction filed by the Progressive People's Party. The Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice clears President Mahama of any wrongdoing in his acceptance of a Ford gift from a Burkinabe contractor. Meanwhile, the PPP and the CPP youth organizer who petitioned Shraj to investigate the matter when the story broke are not so thrilled at the outcome, even as President's lawyer hails the work done by Shraj. In business, Registrar General to fine companies that fail to renew their businesses from Monday, October 3, as the department enforces provisions under the Companies Act. Also, mental health treatment suffers another major setback as the Accra Psychiatric Hospital withdraws emergency and outpatient services. Now, residents of Fumbisi in the Bulsa South and North districts of the Upper East region on Thursday cast their ballots to select key issues of concern to them ahead of the ballot box. Incumbent and PNC MP Alassane Azong, presidential staffer Dr. Clement Apak of the NDC, MPP candidate for Bulsa North lawyer Thomas Alonsi, and Bulsa South Daniel Hopeful Gariba will be present on Friday at the Rollins Park in Fumbisi to address the grievances of the residents. My colleague Evans Mensah is in Fumbisi and joins us live now. Good evening, Evans.
Good evening, Araba.
So, how are preparations coming along ahead of tomorrow's event?
Everything is going on as planned. As we speak, myself and Jahu are just sorting out the issues as we gathered from the ground in Bulsa South and Bulsa North. And so we're pretty confident tomorrow is going to be it's going to be different from the ones we've done so far. So far, we've done, 7 regions? And from the issues we're seeing, they are very unique, not like we've seen in the other 7 regions.
I see. So what are some of the issues that are of concern to the residents there?
Some of the things that we've not heard before, that we have seen play out in the campaign, for example, dams and irrigation. You remember, Leonardo was criticized by the opposition for suggesting that he won one district, one dam in the 3 regions of the north. We've seen that play out in the issues that we've got. That people want the dams, but I have also seen people who say that the incumbent government have built dams for them, and the dams have helped them irrigate their farms, and as of now, they have vegetables even in the dry season. And so it's very interesting to see the dynamic playing out here. Also, we've seen bridges. For the very first time, the need for bridges to connect and boreholes, bridges and boreholes have become an issue. We haven't seen that in other parts of the country we've been, but we've seen that here in Bulsa and the Upper East region. Again, it just goes to tell you that issues are varied. The issues that will determine the vote are not the same in any two places. It's just based on the local dynamic that will determine how and who will win. And we'll see how the candidates attack and deal with the issues tomorrow when we put it to them.
Certainly, we'll be looking forward to tomorrow's ballot box, and it comes on live on Joy News channel on Multi TV, as well as Joy 99.7 FM from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Make a date and stay tuned. Let's move on to other stories. And management of the Greater Accra Progressive Transport Executive is assuring the public it has put in place structures to ensure that the buses, the BRT buses that is, do not deteriorate in the same manner that other services have. At a press briefing, management was quick to assure the press that all is set for the official mid-October launch of the Ayalolo bus service. Jennifer Ekwamwa was there and has come through with this report.
CEO of Agapte, Samson Jamina, answered questions bordering on issues plaguing the service, including the registration and insurance of the buses.
The first day exercise was part of a program we had put across from Monday to Friday to get our operational crew to be ready for the operations when we start the commercial services. So all the protocols, the operational protocols that we had designed, we wanted to test them in real life simulation on the corridor. So our bus drivers, our back office operational officers, etc., will get used to the kind of hiccups they are supposed to be expecting on the corridor. And if there are remedial actions that we immediately find out, then when we come back to the station, to the depot and back to the classroom, we review those things. And this is exactly what happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. We came back to the classroom to review exactly what we had discovered on the corridor in terms of our protocols and the changes that we needed to make. So we are now ready to get back on the road and again look at additional challenges that we may encounter in terms of our equipment, in terms of our drivers, in terms of our operational support, etc. And then again do the review. We will do this again for today, the evening peak, and then tomorrow, and then on Saturday we'll do a comprehensive review of exactly all that we have observed during the exercise that we've carried out. The buses were insured. So in terms of insurance, the buses were covered. What we didn't have was the registration numbers. So I wouldn't say that there were 16 buses that did not have insurance.
He explained measures put in place to ensure the sustainability of the Agapte service.
The immediate project is the Amasaman corridor, and we already have the funding and we are almost completing the Amasaman corridor. We also have funds for the Adenta corridor, so we are working on both. But the other corridors will require additional funding.
And how do you plan on getting that additional funding?
You see, we were supported in this exercise by the donor partners. They are waiting to see the success of the pilot on the Amasaman corridor, and I'm sure they will come back to assist us in developing our other corridors.
Probably back to my question on the timelines. How many years are you looking at?
Our vision was basically a year 2020 vision, that by the year 2020, we would have developed most of the corridors with these big bus operations so that it would be something that would be a feature of Accra, having the Ayalolo services as part of the Accra landscape.
Agapte has also offered to transport school children for free Friday afternoon as part of plans to run up its pilot run before the official launch. For Joy News, Jennifer Ekwamwa.
We're taking a break. We'll be back with entertainment news with Miss G.